trying to pick up where I was, and I was complaining that I did not understand what my medical diagnosis meant. I thought that a severe spinal stenosis was bad, but I thought spinal stenosis was in the range of problems like severe arthritis, and I thought it meant I didn't really have that much of a problem with my back. Asked the consulting physician, actually went to the Cleveland Clinic for the pain management, and then the referral to um, the surgeon. And the surgeon, when I asked him, I said, yeah, I'd like to be considered for the minimally invasive procedure, and he just kind of stared at me. And I said I knew that my mother had had the cage infusion back in the early 80s, and I knew that our science had come a long ways since then, and I was looking forward to see what we could do, what could be done to resolve some of the issues. And the doctor just continued to stare at me, and then finally he said, "You really don't know what you have wrong with you," and um, just didn't even try to educate me really on what the problem was. He just said, uh, there's one solution for what you have, and that is a disc fusion surgery. We still use cages. Yes, our science has progressed. The materials have changed, but the concept is the same. And I was a little surprised. I had hoped that we would have a lot of high-tech, magical things that would be used to resolve my complaints without having to have surgery. The steroid injection never really helped. I had been told they would help for a month or 2 months or 3 months. I don't think I had any resolution from any of the injections, no relief. The pain was intermittent. It was not constant. Uh, I did not have the constant sciatic pain radiating down my legs, but my left leg was definitely weak and worse than my right. Um, but the problems that I am experiencing are such that, I definitely know there's something wrong. And I have reluctantly come to the realization that I do need to have the surgery. On both of my feet, bilaterally, I have numbness that goes from my toes to the middle of my arch on both feet. And it started with my left foot, progressed so that it was then both feet. I was concerned that it was increasing, and I was afraid that it might go up further on both legs. I've talked to friends of mine, different people I know that have had similar situations, and one fellow has the numbness extending all the way up both calves. And I certainly don't want to have any additional damage to my feet or my ability to walk or to have sensation in my feet. It feels to me at all times that I am wearing downhill ski boots on both feet. I'm aware of my feet. I have sensation. I went to a great foot doctor, and he did the sensitivity testing to see where the nerve damage was, and the conclusion was that I do have sensation, but I have the nerve impingement. I have severe nerve impingement on almost every level of my spine. Um, my family doctor, primary care physician, I thought maybe I had early onset diabetes with swelling, and he said, no, you have absolutely no swelling, and your diabetes testing is all right on the borderline, and he recommended that I lose some weight. In fact, this is kind of a funny part of this whole adventure. I tried to get him to prescribe one of the diet shots that are popular out there, and he said that I didn't qualify because I did not have diabetes. So I actually went to a local bakery, bought a lemon meringue pie, ate the entire pie, and had my blood work done, and I was just slightly over the pre-diabetes threshold after I had my next set of blood work done. And when I then went back and reported to my primary care physician, he knew me well enough. He said, looking at your historical blood work, it looks like you probably, spiked your own blood sugar levels before you had the test done, because you're down to normal now, because he retested me. But he said, no, you don't qualify. You don't have the diabetes. You're not eligible for it. I'm on Medicare. I have a great supplement plan, and love, the plan that I have. But they would not cover it, so I filed an appeal since I thought, probably should have mentioned this before, I'm an attorney, and I've been very successful in helping other folks on their Medicare and other appeals, and I thought I would do it for myself, and I lost. I lost like 2 times. So I finally, as I'm meeting with my doctor this last time that I was talking about, he started to talk to me about diet, exercise, and he said, you don't have to actually go on a calorie counting diet, but you do need to be aware of what the calorie counts are of the food items that you're eating. So he used as an example, he said, if you're going to eat a Twinkie, at least know how many calories are in it. So the next time I went to the store, I checked the calorie count on some of my favorite little snack items and realized how those compared to some of the other foods that I should have been eating more regularly. And I realized, yeah, there's something I can do with that. But back to this conversation with the doctor, as he's going on, talking to me about watching the calorie count, I realized he had been talking for like 3.5 minutes, and he wasn't slowing down. He was, and even though I was paying attention, I realized this was important. So I started paying more attention and focused in on what he was saying, and took it to heart. And after that meeting, within less than 6 months, I've lost 40 pounds. And the only thing I did was I watched what I was putting into my mouth and had a better idea of what the calorie counts were. And it was kind of fun because, like, going to a restaurant, look at the menu, I always thought, well, I'm not going to overeat. I'm not going to have a steak and mashed potatoes. I'll just have a hamburger. So I looked at the calorie count. On the hamburger, it was like 3,500 calories, and the steak and mashed potatoes was like 1,200. And it's like, I'd really rather have the steak and mashed potatoes. And it worked. I mean, I did. I lost a lot of weight, and I'm grateful for that. So I thought that would help relieve and take pressure off my spine. And apparently that didn't do any good. I have all of the same symptoms, all of the same problems. Referring to my symptoms to give an idea of what my problems are right now, I say it comes and goes. Like right now, I would say I'm pain-free. I don't have any pain whatsoever. I am not taking any required or prescribed pain medicine. I was getting, and after trying it, I stopped using it. I was told not to stop using it. I said, no, I am stopping this. I don't like this. I was given another prescription for something that was very effective, but then I thought, and for relieving pain, and I was able to sleep better at night. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to start using pain medicines. And so I've been toughing it out. I do take Tylenol, and now I'm preparing for the surgery that's coming up, and I know that I'm going to have to take some heavy-duty meds just to get through the initial period of time post-surgery. Well, waiting with bated breath to see how that works out. I'll probably be screaming for opioids 24/7. And I remember my mother had a little push button thing, and she would just sit there and just push the button constantly, even though nothing was happening. So I have that to look forward to. The procedures that I'm having, and this probably, those of you that know what this means are saying, this guy's such a baby, this is not a big deal. I'm having an L3 to L5 lumbar decompression and an L4 to L5, I can't even pronounce this word, and I'm an attorney, transforaminal lumbar interbody fusion. I don't know. Anyway, it's a big deal, apparently. As I said, both of my feet are numb. I do have sensation. I am able to walk, but if I try to walk any significant distance, use for example, if I go into a store to, like a big box store or something, I can get out of the car, walk into the store, grab a cart, push the cart. Maybe 5 minutes into the store, I notice that I'm starting to get gimpy in my left leg. It's not following and tracking the same as my right leg. It isn't so much that it's painful as much as it is that it doesn't work. I start to stumble. I have fallen down. I have to hang on to things at least 3 times in this type of big box store. Employees have come up to me and offered me the little, personal mobility device chairs and things, and I've said thank you so much, but no. There's one time I was walking in our local mall, and it was near Christmas time this last November and of 2024, and my wife and adult son were with me, and they went off in different directions. And as I was walking into the store, walking around in the store, I was trying to get from one side to the other, and I was in a large open space without anything that I could grab onto. I did not have a shopping cart, and my legs stopped working. I don't know what it was, but I could not move. I could not get my left leg to move any further forward. I couldn't balance on my right leg to hop. I was just stuck in the middle of the floor. It was shocking. I was stunned. As an attorney, one of the things I've done for years, and if you're one of my prior clients and you're listening to me, I used to do a lot of workers' comp. I used to do a lot of Social Security disability, and I stopped doing that. I stopped working in both of those areas because I lost confidence with a lot of my clients. I felt that a lot of folks were malingering. I thought a lot of, and I'm like the plaintiff's lawyer. I'm the guy who's supposed to be on their side, and I saw a lot of what I thought was abuse of the system, and I was very judgmental in my own mind. But I'd look at a lot of these people and think they're faking it. It's not that bad. And so here I was, recently retired. I've been retired 4 years now, and I'm standing in the store and I can't move. And I'm thinking, I wonder if some of these people were telling me the truth. I'm wondering if some of their, it wasn't that bad. I'm a lot more sympathetic than that, but people do abuse the system, and we all know that. You all know somebody who's taken advantage of it. Not all of them were horrible people. In fact, the most concern I had when I was doing my full-time practice was that it seemed like the people that were obviously malingering or faking it, or not sincere in their reporting, or that were doing things that were outside of the activities that they should have done for the stated physical limitations that they claim to have. For that group of people, there was a larger group of people that were genuinely injured, men and women that were severely disabled, either through work or through just experiences they had, accidents. And I was amazed at how difficult it was to present these people in a credible manner, because everyone was painted with the same broad brush, I felt, by the insurance companies, I would say almost without exception, and opposing legal counsel as that they were faking it. And so I was always very upset when I would have somebody who I knew was disabled and I wasn't able to just immediately get benefits for them. But after a while, like I said, this was something that I eventually stopped doing because I felt I was very successful and I was eventually always winning, or I felt like I won a lot. I would say I was always winning, but I can't remember any case that I did not win eventually. I've had opposing counsel say I was very tenacious. I've had judges tell me that I was tenacious. If I lost initially, I appealed and won on appeal. But I felt that I was winning for folks that in some cases I didn't believe in their cases. And I finally said, I've got to be honest in my business dealings. I don't feel this is right, so I stopped practicing in those areas. Fortunately, I always had a very strong estate planning and estate administration practice, and I also did a lot of personal injury work, and so I was able to keep things going that way. Just today, I was fitted for a back brace because the surgery is a week away, and the young fellow who was fitting me for the brace said, "What did you do before you retired?" And I told him, and he said, "What area of practice did you have?" And I said, "I spent most of my time suing like orthopedic solutions kind of people that would provide like back braces." And he says, "You're pulling my leg, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm kidding." But I like that photo. In any event, so I have to have this surgery because uh, if I don't know what's going to happen to me. I have such incredible, disabling pain at the most unexpected times. I mean, like you think, okay, I can lay down and I can go to sleep. So if I lay down and I'm flat on my back, I eventually wake up with excruciating pain in my lower spine. Uh, if I try to get out of bed and I roll and I try to use proper body mechanics to get out of bed, there are extremely limited ways that I can get out of bed. Most of my ability to get out of a chair or to get out of a flat surface, a bed, involves using my arm strength, where I have to find something to leverage against and lift myself straight up. And a lot of the videos I've been watching, I understand I'm going to have to use a lot of proper body mechanics after the surgery. And I think I've really practiced that going into it, just because I can't get out of bed, I can't get off a chair unless, I lock things up and go straight up without twisting or turning my spine. Really do not understand why this is so painful for me. I have, the most recent injury I had was on September 9th, 2023. I was fishing with my oldest grandson. I had discovered a pool of steelhead, maybe 25 or 30 fish, huge fish. And I had seen them while hiking on a trail, and it was on an area of this particular fishing creek, Elk Creek, that could not be seen by the people on the other side. Everybody has an idea where the pools are, but the water was so deep you couldn't wade across it with your waders. And from my vantage point, I could see that there was water that was about 10 feet deep, and then there was this pool that had to be 20 feet deep, and these fish would congregate in there. So this was an ideal place to take my grandson fishing. To get there, though, I had to go in a back way, not the normal fishing access area. I came in, and there was a cliff on Elk Creek, huge cliff, I don't know, 30 feet, something like that. And so instead of, most folks came in from the straight side where there were parking lots, and in this particular area it was on a curve, and I never saw anybody fishing there. So I took my grandson in from a remote trail on the cliff side, parked our vehicle, walked in through tons of briars, brambles, fallen trees, fought our way through getting scratched up, finally got to this remote pool and fishing area, set up my grandson so he could start fishing, went to start fishing myself, and I realized I'd left my hat in my car with my senior fishing license on it. And you can't fish without a license, so I didn't want to take 45 minutes to fight my way back to my access point. So I told my grandson I'd be right back, went around the corner, looked up at this huge muddy cliff, and I thought, I'm 16, I can still do this. And so I scrambled up the side of the cliff. There was an inverse edge on the cliff due to erosion. So at the very top, there were trees kind of like bending over at the top of this erosion point, and the roots would stick out, where it had been eroded out. And so I knew that I couldn't go under and over this overhanging lip, but I knew I could climb up on those roots. So I I reached up with my left hand, grabbed a ginormous root. It was probably 12 to 18 inches in diameter, very easy to, climb over. I knew it wouldn't be a problem. So I grabbed it, and as I put my weight on it, it broke. It was rotten, and so I'm now holding like 80 to 150 pounds of dead root, which I could not hold over my head. So it was a twisting, turning, lurching of this, and I ended up on the bottom of the cliff, like 40 feet below. So I say I fell over a cliff. And so when I did talk to my primary care physician, when I did talk to the pain management doctors, I said, all of this back pain I'm experiencing is because of this injury on this date when I fell off a cliff. And without exception, everyone has told me, no, your pain is because you have severe spinal stenosis. It has nothing to do with any recent injury. Your bilateral rotator cuff tears and your ligament tears in your arms probably have something to do with this. But at best, you've exacerbated a pre-existing condition, but your problems now stem from this long history of severe spinal stenosis. So I'm going to report back after I have my surgery to see how things go. I will say this, I have, as I probably mentioned, watched a lot of videos. And it seems to me that almost without exception, with the exception of this guy that I just found that was reporting 2.5 years after his surgery, and you know who you are, you gave me a lot of encouragement, thank you very much, sir. And the rest of you really scared the crap out of me. People say, well, I had my surgery and it failed. Even the fellow where I was getting the back brace fitted today said, well, you wouldn't believe, he said, this happens a lot. He said a lot of people end up having 2 or 3 operations. I know people that have had 10 operations. And I said, dude, you are not encouraging me. Are you kidding? And he said, no, I'm serious. He said, I see 30 people a week that are having surgery, and a lot of them are repeats. So my watching the videos was terrifying. So I thought, patient videos. So then I thought, well, I'm going to start watching videos by doctors talking about the procedures. And then, once again, it was almost without exception. The videos that I looked up started off with do not have fusion, spinal fusion, 10 reasons not to have back surgery, why does failed back surgery occur so often? Just look it up yourself. It's terrifying. So I hope I will be able to report that I had the surgery and that it was successful for me. I decided to leave the folks at the Cleveland Clinic and have the operation done at home. A wonderful guy. I won't mention his name unless and until the surgery is successful. I'm just kidding. But wonderful guy. And he told me, he said, I cannot guarantee 100% success. And if you find any surgeon who tells you that they can make that guarantee, you need to keep going. He said there are too many variables and too many things can and do go wrong. And he said, I have the highest expectation for a successful outcome and one that will give you great relief, but don't have the surgery if you think you're going to have 100% success, and because that cannot be guaranteed. So I appreciated his candor, and because of that, I decided that he would be the one that I would trust with my surgery. So with that having been said, I would like to that my next report will be that I have survived the surgery. This fellow who did the 2.5-year report mentioned that when he was, pre-surgery, he was worried that, would he end up in a wheelchair? Would he be paralyzed? And those are exactly my fears. I worry about some sort of spinal cord damage. And I worry that, is this elective surgery? If I have intermittent pain, if it comes and goes, and then I have to really stop and remember and remind myself of not being able to get out of the center of the store. When I was at the mall that time, I had to get on my phone, call my wife. She found me. My son and she got on either side of me and hobbled me out of the store. I didn't think I'd ever walk again. a lot of things help, like scalding hot showers, hot pads, heating pads on high, um, laying on top of an electric blanket with a heating pad, like double dosing the heat. I have a sauna. I'll sit in there. All of these things do help, but nothing has cured the problem yet. I will say that the chiropractors that I've believed in and trusted for so many years for all my aches and pains, I think without exception, I went to 3 of them this time, and I would say those were like hard fails. Um, I told them that I had severe spinal stenosis. I would bring in my x-rays, and without exception, the adjustments were dramatic, uh, just almost abusive, and too much, absolutely too much. And so I only went to like 1 or 2 sessions with each of them. Used to have a chiropractor who was the absolute best chiropractor. There are 2 of them, 2 guys, did a phenomenal job that I've worked with before. One retired, and the other fellow decided to go into being a stockbroker and being a financial advisor. And you know who you are if you're watching this. What a tremendous chiropractor. But he's an even better stockbroker, so that's good to know. With that, I'm going to sign off and bid you adieu until hopefully it isn't my wife doing a postscript saying, Tom was buried on the 4th of... Yeah, don't want that to happen. Okay, thank you.